living, nope, student. What the hell is a student? There is a very specific genre of anime that sneaks up on you. Not with explosions, not with screaming power ups, but with vibes. You sit down thinking, cool, cool, I will casually watch an anime movie. And 40 minutes later, you're emotionally compromised, questioning your relationship with art, fandom, and the internet. Cosmic Princess Kaguya is absolutely that movie. Welcome back to the Ruby Tuesday. I'm Ruben, and today we're talking about a film that blends modern VR culture, virtual idols, and classic Japanese folklore into something quite complex and extremely dangerous to watch if you're already an anime nerd. Ask me how I know. At its heart, Cosmic Princess Kaguya is a story about connection. The film follows a high school student living on her own, whose everyday life is disrupted when she takes in Kaguya, a mysterious girl with a very unusual background. The two bond over their shared love of virtual idols in the VR metaverse known as Tsukiyomi, a digital space that feels less like a sci-fi spectacle and more like a sincere reflection of how people find belonging online. In fact, after watching this film with part of my family, a conversation sprang up about just that. The digital communities that we find ourselves in, ones that are more than just clickbait, keyboard warriors, or the small minority of hate users that shout the loudest. We talked about the small digital worlds that we want to keep safe from all of that. And this film tackles that without being preachy, which is a feat in of itself. If you know the tale of the bamboo cutter, the classic Princess Kaguya story, you'll recognize the inspiration. But this is very much a modern reinterpretation, not a straight retelling. And importantly, this story unfolds on Earth, in virtual spaces, and some augmented reality. Think slice of life with a splash of Summer Wars and Ready Player One, but it's anime. A huge reason this film works is the people behind it. The film is directed by Shingo Yamashita, a name anime fans will immediately clock as someone with a strong visual sensibility and a real understanding of movement and mood. Character designs are handled by Hachime and Akiro Nagae, whose work strikes a careful balance between grounded realism and slightly ethereal softness. The production is a collaboration between Studio Colorido and Studio Chromato, I hope I'm getting that right, under Twin Engine, and you can feel the indie leaning, artist driven DNA throughout the movie. This is not a factory line anime, this is a handcrafted anime that feels like a passion project that somehow got made despite its inherently complex nature. At first glance, this film looks like a cute, basic movie, something to put on in the background, but it's so much more than that. This is not a simple movie. It's also not confusing once it explains itself, but you'll have to wait for the answers to come. It's layered. On the surface, it's about shared hobbies, daily routines, and forming bonds. Underneath that, it's about impermanence, identity, creativity, and the fear of losing the spaces or people that make us feel whole. The movie asks big questions, but it asks them gently. And as an anime fan, I really appreciate it that it doesn't over explain itself or spell out the themes like a PowerPoint presentation. The emotional core of the film is carried by three excellent performances: Yuki Nutsuyoshi as Kayuga and Anna Nagase as Iroha. Sari Hayama as Yachiyo, and I'm sorry if I've designated those names. I really struggle with my dyslexia here, especially when it comes to names that I can't pronounce that well. But yes, if you know the name Sayori Hayami, fans are going to be very pleased that you are going to be eating very well. These performances are subtle, restrained, and very human. No one is playing in the back row, no one is doing anime acting for the sake of it. There's a natural rhythm to how these characters interact that makes even quite domestic scenes feel meaningful. This is the kind of movie where a character making tea feels like character development, and somehow it really is. One of the most interesting things about Cosmic Princess Kaguya is that it treats the virtual idol culture with sincerity. Tsukuyomi isn't portrayed as shallow or embarrassing or ironic. It's treated as art, community, and emotional refuge. As someone who has spent an irresponsible number of hours thinking about anime, music, and online spaces, this felt extremely real. The film understands that for a lot of people, these spaces aren't escapism, they're connection. Visually, the movie is gorgeous. I mean, really, really good looking. Not in a loud way, but What really stood out to me was how the film uses different animation styles to reflect different emotional and narrative spaces. Everyday life feels very grounded and soft. VR spaces feel stylized, expressive, and slightly unreal. Emotional moments are often emphasized through lighting and framing rather than big gestures. This is an animation that trusts the audience to notice the details. And if you're the kind of anime nerd who rewinds scenes just to admire the artwork, yeah, you're going to rewind this movie a lot then. There are fight scenes interspersed with a concert that work so well together that it was something that I wanted to watch a number of times. There's a VR tournament that has a style of its own, which made me mumble, I want to play this game. And then there's the music. Abstract visuals, sound waves, and soft colors. Music plays a huge role here, not just as songs, but as texture. The score knows when to step back and let the silence do the work, and when to gently guide your emotions without overwhelming them. There's a strong sense of cohesion among the music, visuals, and themes, and the creativity and the expression of that. It works really well together. Nothing feels randomly placed. Everything feels considered. It's the sort of hard work that you hear people speaking about long-term projects like GTA 6 or Cyberpunk 2027, Avatar 2 and 3. These projects that sometimes take over 10 years to complete. This anime screams passions from the visuals, the music, the score, the most importantly, its messages. What I loved is how this film uses familiar anime tropes, the mysterious transfer student energy, the quiet slice of life pacing, the art saves us philosophy, but uses them thoughtfully and not cynically. This movie isn't trying to subvert anime, it's clearly made by people who love it. Cosmic Princess Kaguya is the kind of anime that lingers. It's soft but not slight, it's emotional but not manipulative, it's geeky but deeply sincere. It rewards patience, attention, and empathy, and it respects the audience enough to let the story breathe. It's hefty in length at over 2.5 hours long, which is long for a live action, but yeah, anime that can be a tough ask for some that have short attention spans. But for anime lovers who binge watch whole seasons at a time, this is going to be a breeze for you. There were moments where I checked my phone for the time because I couldn't believe that this film was still going on. Not because I wasn't enjoying it, but because it's rare for an anime feature as unique as this to be as long as this. I loved it and will rewatch it several times. So yes, I'm giving this 5 Nicolas Cages out of 5. It's not full chaos cage, not screaming cage. This is quiet, contemplative, staring at artwork and feeling things cage. And honestly, that's peak Nicolas Cage. If you've enjoyed this review, subscribe to the Ruby Tuesday for more thoughtful anime and film coverage. But most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.